So these are the energetic secrets about money that nobody tells you about. And you can choose to believe in this stuff or not, it doesn't matter to me, but there is this whole other side of money and abundance and mindset that can open up so many doors for you if you're open to it. Now, an abundance mindset is not just reserved for money. You can have an abundance mindset with your career, your romantic relationships, your friendships, your health, your happiness, your life, just everything. But today we're talking about money. We're diving in on money. So first, before I dive in though, you have to understand what an abundance mindset even is and how this differs from a scarcity mindset. An abundance mindset is optimistic. It sees the glass as half full. It sees and recognizes opportunities. It's empowered. It's giving. It's trusting. It embraces change. And it believes that there's a piece of the pie for everyone. A scarcity mindset is the exact opposite. It's pessimistic. And instead of focusing on opportunities, it focuses on the struggles, the problems, the limitations. It's fearful, afraid of change, afraid that there won't ever be enough, afraid to give. It's powerless, it's anxious, it's not very trusting. So an abundance mindset is defined by a feeling that there will always be enough, whereas a scarcity mindset is defined by a feeling of lack. If you want to start feeling more abundance around money, then you have to take a look at your limiting beliefs about money. And I know it's not always fun, but these subconscious beliefs, they run the show. And if you continue to stay completely unaware of them, then it is likely that you will always struggle in this area of your life. So grab a journal or a piece of paper and just take 20 minutes or so, set a timer, and just write down everything you feel to be true about money. So you might have beliefs like you have to suffer to make money. Money is the root of all evil. More money means more problems. Having money is selfish. Money is hard to come by. You can't make money and also be happy. Making money means taking it away from others. Or it might look like I'm bad with money. I'm not smart enough, talented enough to make money. I don't deserve money, or I'm always going to be in debt. And also think about things like, what did your parents teach you about money? What was money like in your life growing up? And when you picture yourself wealthy, how does it make you feel? Does it bring you peace and joy? Or does it make you feel anxious and stressed and fearful? Does it make you feel guilty? And once you have a list of these beliefs, you have to start flipping them. You get to decide if these beliefs are true for you or not. You have to start replacing them, and you have to start finding evidence for the new beliefs that you do want to create. One of my biggest limiting beliefs was more money meant more responsibility, and that made me a little bit anxious. And so I had to start flipping them and thinking, no, more money means more freedom. More money means more fun, more opportunity, more security, more comfort. Whenever you notice these limiting beliefs coming up in your life, you have to make the conscious choice to think differently and to move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Now, another huge thing with an abundance mindset is that you have to have gratitude. You cannot have an abundance mindset without gratitude. And so you have to start turning your attention away from what you don't have, what you feel like is lacking and what's not going right, to what you do have. You have to get into the state of excitement and gratitude every single time you open your bank account, whether there's $100 million in there or $100 in there. You have to feel gratitude for that, for the roof of your head, the food on your table, the financial opportunities you have, the parking spot that you don't have to pay for because someone left early with 2 hours still in the meter. You have to look for the abundance that's already present in your life, because the more you see it, the more will come in. That's just how the law of attraction works. And the more you focus on lack, the more lack there will be. When you pay for something, groceries, a bill, whatever it is, say thank you in your head. Be excited about the fact that you get to exchange your dollars for fresh food from the grocery store. Be excited and thankful that you have the ability to pay for water and electricity every month. I mean, if you didn't have that, life would be much harder. And don't forget, you can experience abundance financially, not just by receiving money, but by receiving things that you didn't have to pay for. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to zoom out and look at the whole picture. Don't forget to be grateful of those moments of receiving as well. Like if the restaurant forgot your lunch order, so they give it to you for free. And just to be clear, you can be happy and content and grateful with where you're at now while still wanting more. You can be happy and grateful for the cozy apartment you live in while still actively working towards your first real home with a big backyard and everything. You have to stay in that gratitude state, and you can be grateful and appreciative of what you have now while still excited for the future at the same time. With an abundance mindset, what you focus on grows. It's not just about being grateful. It's about how being grateful shifts your attention to the good so that the good can get better. Now, keep in mind that when it comes to money, well, with everything in life, but also very much money, that your words are very powerful, whether you actually say them out loud or just in your head. How many times have you thought about something and been like, oh, I can't afford that, or think I'm poor, or think I don't have enough money? Because the this language is so disempowering and it's living in a state of scarcity. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, you have to shift your language to, that's not where I want to spend my money right now. That's not a priority for me right now. Because let's be real, most of the time, at least, if you really wanted something, like if it was your highest priority, you would somehow make it happen. But instead, you're choosing to prioritize other things. If a $5,000 purse, for example, was your priority, you could eat ramen for every meal. You could get a roommate. You could sell a bunch of stuff. You could get a second job. You could probably somehow make it happen. It's not that you can't afford it. You could if you really wanted to, but you're choosing to prioritize other things. You're choosing to put your money elsewhere, and that comes from a state of empowerment. Affirmations too are powerful. One of the affirmations my husband says all the time, and that I have since stolen from him because I love it so much, he says, I love money and money loves me. You should steal that too if you want to, and just start thinking these abundant thoughts over and over and over again. What you say and the energy behind what you say matters. Stop saying you can't afford things. Stop saying you're struggling. Stop saying you're broke, even if it is completely true. Again, stop bringing attention to the lack and start speaking with more confidence and empowerment. Even if it feels totally unnatural, do it anyways. Okay, so this next thing is something that's a little woo-woo. Some people might think it's a little bit weird, but that's okay. I think it's a really helpful way to better understand the energetics of money and how to work with it and have a better relationship with it. So here it is. Money wants to be loved. Money is not that much different than you. And I know that sounds weird, but just hear me out. Think about what you would want in a relationship. You probably want security. You want to feel like you can trust the person, that they're reliable, that they're consistent. But more than anything, you want to feel loved. You want to feel loved at your highest highs, but you also want to feel loved and appreciated and still respected even at your lowest lows, even when you fall short. Well, money isn't that much different. Money wants to be loved. Money wants to be appreciated. Money wants to feel secure in your energy and that you are reliable and trustworthy and loving toward it, even when it doesn't quite reach your expectations, even when it's not that number in the bank account that you want so badly. Money wants to feel like you have confidence in it. We have a relationship with everything in life, and we have a relationship with money too. And it's very important that we make it a good one if we want to be wealthy in our life. And just like in a relationship or dating, desperation repels people. We kind of all know this, right? When people are desperate to be in a relationship, it's very uncomfortable for the other person. Most people do not want to be with them because it doesn't feel very secure. It's very uncomfortable. It instinctually makes people want to run the other direction. Same with money. Money gets uncomfy when you're desperate for it. It's repelling. If you can think about finances in this way, it helps you to naturally start having a better, more positive relationship with money. Next, you gotta start visualizing yourself as the abundant you. How would it feel to open your bank account to X amount of money? How would it feel to send an invoice for X amount of dollars? Think of an actual number that means something to you and visualize it. And do this a lot and get excited about it. But not only that, how would the more abundant you do everything in life? Now, of course, if you had a lot more money, you are probably going to spend more too. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the little things. How would you carry yourself? How would you look at yourself in the mirror? How would you talk to yourself? How would you talk to other people? How would you order your coffee? How would you walk in a store? How would you carry yourself at work? How would you start doing the little things and start acting like that? You have to start feeling abundant as you go about your life and stop doing things or doing things in a way that makes you feel broke. Because the worst thing that can happen is for you to get chronically stuck in this mindset or these habits of always feeling broke. Because if your subconscious believes that you're always supposed to be broke, even if you do get some money, your subconscious mind will find some way to get rid of it so that you can be broke again, so that your external world matches your internal subconscious beliefs. Now, I know most people probably won't agree with this, and I'm definitely not saying that everyone should stop doing this. I actually stopped budgeting a few years ago because it made me feel broke. And when I stopped budgeting, I realized that I was really responsible with finances. I didn't buy things impulsively. And putting a restriction on my finances like that made me feel broke. It put me in this scarcity mindset, and I never wanted to feel like that. You can definitely make and follow a budget and feel empowered by that. I know that that's possible, but for me, it was just really, really challenging, and it didn't negatively affect my finances overall when I stopped. And that's partly because I was able to let go of fear and just trust. Fear is the ultimate scarcity mindset. And I understand the fear around money because money is very important to our survival and our well-being, but money wants to be trusted. Money wants to feel like you have confidence in it. You have to let go of that paralyzing feeling that there will never be enough, that you will always be struggling. And maybe you grew up that way. Maybe that's all you've ever known. But sometimes you have to start trusting in the unknown if you want to make big shifts in your life. It's very common that people are too afraid to invest in themselves. I definitely was. Some people are stingy when they tip, not because they don't appreciate the service, but because they're so scared of letting money go. Many people are too afraid to spend money on something that will genuinely add massive value to their life. And if you're in debt, you have to stop being fearful about your debt. Debt is not an inherently bad thing. It's not a good thing either. It just is. But we attach so much emotion to debt. There's so much fear around it. But all debt is that we are paying a fee to use money before we have earned it or before it's come into our account. That's all that it is. Now, obviously, this can get some people in a huge, messy trap and in this big downward spiral. I'm not saying that you should just throw all your money on a credit card and deal with it later. But if you currently have credit card debt or student loan debt or whatever, try to let go of that fear and that lack that usually surrounds that. Be thankful that you had the ability to use that and just move forward. Don't let it put you in this broke mindset, in this state of scarcity. And from just a purely practical standpoint, when it comes to finances, fear does not help anything. If you let go of fear, you're still gonna be responsible. You're still gonna show up at work. You're still gonna do all the same things. If you let go of fear, money will not just magically disappear from your bank account. But fear is an abundance killer. Another reason that we have a lot of fear around money is because we can get scared that money can just stop coming in. But the truth about money is that it loves to be in flow. Money comes and goes. You have to, again, trust, let go of the fear that what goes out will come back. It's great to, of course, have a savings and things like that, but sometimes what can happen is people will have so much fear that they will just hoard their money. They will never circulate it, and they will never use it on things to actually enrich their life. But money is meant to be circulated. One of my favorite affirmations is whenever I decide to spend money on something that makes me even the slightest bit nervous, I like to say, every dollar I spend comes back to me tenfold. I have to remind myself that money is coming back. Again, you have to let go of that desperate lack mentality. Money doesn't like it, and money doesn't want to come back to you if that's the case. That's not a good relationship to have, and that's having an anxious attachment style with money. Now, I read this in a book somewhere, and I can't remember which one, but it basically said something like, think about your breath. When we breathe in, we don't try to take in as much air as we possibly can to hold us over for the next hour, the next week, the next month, right? We breathe in and then we breathe out because we know that there's always more air available to us. There's always more air for us to receive when we need it. Our relationship with money should be similar. Money can flow in and out just like air because an abundance mindset means that there is always more available for us to attract in. There are always more opportunities. And just to clarify, this doesn't mean like make $1,000, spend $1,000, make $1,000, spend $1,000. This just means that building wealth will oftentimes not be this straight line. It's gonna be up and down, have a flowy movement to it, and that's okay. Now, I wanna share a quick little story around this because this is something that has really stuck in my mind, something that I have not forgotten. Last fall, I think it was, I went to the mall, just kind of wanted to look for some more cold weather items, just kind of casually browsing. I also just kind of, wanted some alone time, wanted to walk around the mall. I went to Nordstrom's and I tried on a few different things, but there was only one thing that I liked and that fit me really well. And that was a sweater from Free People. I looked at the price tag and it said $100. Not surprising for a Free People sweater, but in my head I was like, I would feel more comfortable buying this if it was $60. But I don't know about 100. And I was standing there in the dressing room really stressing myself out about this, and I was so hesitant to spend my money even on just like a sweater that I actually really liked. But then I was just like, you know what, it's a sweater. I am going to use this as an opportunity to have less guilt around the money that I spend because that was something that I was working on. So like, whatever, let's just buy it. It's not a car or anything, it's just a sweater. It's not that big of a deal. So I walk up to the cash register and I give the lady working there my sweater. And remember when I said that it was $100, but I would feel more comfortable buying it for $60? Well, I gave her my sweater and she said $60. And I was like, oh, a little like kind of surprised. And she said, oh yeah, it's on sale. It was on sale for the exact amount that I said I would be comfortable buying it for. And it didn't say that on the price tag or anything. But I was like, okay, well, that's a cool coincidence. Like, thank you, universe, I appreciate it. But not that big of a deal, right? But then right after checking out, literally within 45 seconds of checking out and walking out of Nordstrom's, my husband Cole calls me and he says, guess what? We're actually getting a few extra $1,000 on my next commission check than what we were originally supposed to get. I was like, cool, like this literally happened right after walking outside of Nordstrom's. And I don't really believe much in coincidences. And I feel like the universe was trying to send me a sign. Like, you're gonna be okay, girl. Like, it's okay. Chill out. You don't need to worry so much about money. Like, it's all gonna be fine. And I know that story is just about a Free People sweater. It's kind of silly, but it's something that I think about often when I get scared about seeing money go. It was like when I decided to spend some money, a bunch more money came into my life, even though they were entirely unrelated and were just purely coincidental. It just seemed like it was supposed to be some lesson for me around letting money flow. All right, so changing direction a little bit. Let's talk about money from a different angle. What is money? Money is something we use to pay for a service or to get value from something. So if you go out to lunch, you are paying for them to source the ingredients, cook us a meal, deliver it to our table, and clean it all up. That's the value we're receiving in that exchange. Or you might pay for a service like having someone mow your lawn, clean your house, do your dry cleaning. Or you might pay to get tickets for a concert. And the value there is entertainment and fun. So for this next point, I want to read this quote from Maya Angelou I love. She said, "Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you." Mic drop. So if you want to attract in more money, more abundance into your life, instead of focusing directly on money itself, which can sometimes put you in like this desperate lack state, focus on providing value to others. Focus on the impact you want to make. This doesn't mean you have to be building the next Tesla. You can provide value in many different ways. Now, it's also important to think about, do you have an abundance mindset in the other areas of your life? Because the more that you have an abundance mindset in these other areas, the more likely that this will easily translate over to your financial life. Do you celebrate others for their achievements and their success, especially if that success is something that you want but don't have yet? Do you embrace change or do you fear it? Do you give to others freely even when there's nothing in it for you? I know these aren't directly related to money, but everything is indirectly related to everything else. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you want an abundance mindset and abundance with money and finances, you have to have an abundance mindset with everything that you do. It's also helpful to realize that money usually does not just show up overnight. You can't just shift your mindset and then all of a sudden there's $1 billion in your bank account. You have to have consistency, patience, and a strong belief in your financial future. Stop giving yourself a strict timeline on money and instead focus on the actions, beliefs, thoughts that you need to become abundant. Focus on the things that you can directly control. Focus on the things that you can feel empowered by. Things will happen when they're meant to. I'm a big believer in that. It's also important to be around other people that have an abundance mindset. Your friends, your family, your community matters. And if you are constantly surrounded by people in lack, by people in scarcity, then it is so hard to escape from that way of thinking. And I'm grateful, pretty much like I think 100% of my friends have an abundance mindset. And I can't tell you how helpful that is and how important that is. Remember, you become who you spend time with, so choose wisely. If you want to be wealthy, you need to distance yourself from people who are determined to stay broke. Now there's one more point I want to touch on. There is a very small secret part of ourselves, or at least with most people, that loves to be bitter, that loves to be resentful and struggling and angry. You know how sometimes we get in a bad mood and we just can't get ourselves out of it because there is like this tiny little part of ourselves that kind of enjoys being in a bad mood. I mean, it's like we want to be happy and all of that, but at the same time, we have the tiniest bit of satisfaction from suffering. Well, we need to recognize this and choose to let it go, because if you want to be wealthy and abundant in your life, we have to let go of that teeny tiny part of ourselves that loves the struggle, that loves to blame others and have a victim mentality. You don't want this little part of you running the show if you want true wealth and success in your life.